it going?
All good, all good. Lots of travel as usual.
Yes. I can sense that a very busy person.
Yes,
So, Rajiv, are you ready for the interview?
I'm ready. Whenever you're ready to shoot
I am
questions.
ready. It's already recording.
Okay, great,
Great,
wonderful.
great.
Yeah.
So, Rajiv, before we actually go out into asking what landed you into this profession, firstly, I would like to know when you began this profession. When you
Okay.
began this profession, what was the main hurdle
Hmm.
emotionally that you were facing, because of
Hmm.
which you made such a drastic step, which turned the entire scenario into your favor?
Okay, so you mean how did I get into the training and coaching business? The start
Before,
point of that.
before that, yes, that the moment, the
Okay.
shift. I'm talking about that shift.
So I think for me, I got into training and coaching quite early. While I was in college itself, I got into it because um, so this happened in the second year of my BCom. I was pursuing my bachelor's in commerce in Christ here in Bangalore, and at that point of time, I was looking at what next post BCom. I was very clear I didn't want to pursue the path of chartered accountancy. I
Okay.
also was yeah, then I didn't want to go into an MBA course and just continue education. I thought
No
it would be
conventional
nice to
ways.
have. Yeah, I thought it would be nice to have some work ex and then explore further education. That was the thought process that I had. So while I was constantly on the lookout, a friend of mine reached out to me and he spoke to me about the small group that they had created, which was like a youth organization. And the idea was to do workshops on a monthly basis for college students on two things. One, helping them resolve their relationship dramas and challenges, because that's where most college students are stuck in, and to focus on their career aspects to build proof of skill.
Wow.
So that idea kind of intrigued me, and I went and attended one of the workshops of that organization, and then I joined the team, and then quickly moved on to the core team. And we were a group of five of us who were leading that youth organization for 1.5 years, and we spread it to three cities. We spread it across Bangalore, Chennai, and Pune. So we had a lot of college students as interns. That
Okay.
was where I got into training and coaching, because I started facilitating programs for these interns and for the other students who used to come into our workshops. So that was my start point in training. Uh, how I got into corporate training was that in the final year of my college, when I had to make a career decision, I thought, okay, it would be nice to take up a job. And I went and applied for a job on campus, but I got rejected saying I'm overqualified, because my
Yes, this
CV
happens. Yes.
yeah, my CV had stuff like trained 5,000 students. Was working as a freelancer with corporate training companies
Mm.
like Nike, Siemens. I had done projects with them. I had done the orientation program for IIM Bangalore. As while I was in BCom, I had done the orientation for 2 years in a row at IIM Bangalore. So my CV was very, very comprehensive, not a regular CV of a BCom grad. So that's when uh, I got rejected saying you're overqualified. Then I got an offer to join directly as a management trainee, which is typically a position given only to MBA graduates.
Okay.
And it was a pretty good pay pack. But then my father, I always say this, I'm a forced entrepreneur. My father tore the offer letter and he said, if they are willing to pay you 80,000 rupees a month, which is unheard of for a BCom graduate, then you are much more valuable than that. You need to start your own business.
That's
So
amazing.
he's been my inspiration and strength, and he pushed me into entrepreneurship. And the only thing I knew was training and coaching, so I started a corporate training company with the name Quantum Leap, and that's how I got into this line of training and coaching. Back
Amazing.
in 2006 is when I started.
Wow, that's almost like 13 years now.
13 years. Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. So, the famous book, the Amazon bestseller book, your
Mhm.
book, Bleed,
Lead or bleed.
Lead or Bleed. Yes, that's the name. Now, I want to know who really inspired you to write that book.
I think even that book was quite a story. 2012, I went through a financial loss, and
Yes.
because of that loss, For 2 years, I was in a deep debt. So I was trying all sorts of shortcuts to make quick money so that I could repay the debt. And then after 2 years of trying shortcuts, I realized that, you know what, I just got to build on my strengths. I just got to focus on my businesses. And I need to firstly accept that I don't know how to build a successful business, because till that date, like it was like what, 6 7 years as an entrepreneur, you know, somewhere you start believing that you are a successful entrepreneur because you've been in the space of entrepreneurship for 6 to 7 years. So it was a very difficult conversation to have with myself, to tell myself, you know what, you don't know how to build a business, accept it and now learn. And this need to learn actually got me to create the idea of the book, where I said, you know what, I will use the book to open doors of the best in the industry and go interview them for the book, uh, to understand what does it take to build a successful business, both the psychology and the systems. So that's how Leader Bleed came about. It was actually a personal learning project. My intention was not to become an author. My intention was to learn for myself from people who built successful brands in the country. The book was just the front face of this entire learning exercise that I had created for myself. So I went across India, interviewed 300 CEOs and founders of some of the biggest brands in the country across sectors. And it was a phenomenal learning experience. I mean, just to have the I would say the fortune to sit in front of
Yes.
someone like a Kiran Mazumdar Shaw or a Ashok Suta or a
Yes.
CK Kumaravel and hear from them their story, break it down to that stage where most businesses find it difficult to break through out of. You know, we all hear about these people from the point of view of what their businesses are doing today, the investments they're making today. But very little has been written about that stage of their life as an entrepreneur, where they actually had the struggles of everything being dependent on them and how they broke through that. So that was the focus area of my work. And then the book came out, and I had very little expectations from the book, because I was like, okay, who is Rajiv Talreja? Why would someone buy the book of this first time author? But I think the content of the book drove the book's reach. And within a couple of weeks, we were an Amazon bestseller and an international bestseller. And my entire life took a 360-degree turn after the book.
So vulnerability is powerful.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing more inspiring than the truth. My biggest disagreement with most people in the training and development industry is that they put up an act.
Yes,
They put up
yes,
an
they do.
act that they have made it in life already. I still believe I haven't made it yet. I still
Okay.
believe there's a long way for me to go. And I don't agree to the philosophy of putting up an act. I think when you speak the truth, people are inspired by it.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's when people respect the authenticity that you're willing to provide and resonate with you and want to work with you. So
Absolutely.
I think truth is the most inspiring tool. That's the way I look at it.
Yes, so we all are as human and it becomes more relatable. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. So, taking a leaf out of your experience, who are the really, those three people who have really inspired you to be where you are today, besides your father, like you mentioned? So, other three people.
Mhm. So I have a whole lot of people. See, for me, my default conversation with a person is to derive learning for myself. Okay, when I'm talking to a person, I'm trying to see what can I pick up from that person. So there are quite a few people who've inspired me. But if I have to pick three people, I would say one would be definitely Mr. Ashok Suta. uh, just the fact that not many people know his story, but he was the first CEO of Wipro Systems, and he took Wipro from 2 million to 200 million. Then from there, he built Mindtree. He took Mindtree to an IPO. And then at the age of 68, where most people would think of retirement,
Yes.
he decided to move out of Mindtree because he wanted to create an organization that represents a certain cultural ethos. And he started Happiest Mind Technologies. And he took Happiest Mind Technologies to become India's fastest company to reach $100 million. So for
Wow.
me, one, the fact that uh, through his journey, I mean, at 68, he could have easily said, I've taken a company to an IPO. now I can hang my boots, retire. But to have that fire even at 68
Yes.
uh, tells you the level of drive and purpose an individual can carry. So that is very, very inspiring for me personally.
True.
Uh, Another person I learned a lot from and has inspired my life is my mentor Blair Singer,
Okay.
and Blair is a phenomenal teacher, one of the few teachers left on this planet in the personal development industry who are authentic, who believe in what they say, who are the same person off stage and on stage, and who come with a genuine intent to make a big difference. So one of the things that I picked up from Blair is the deep desire to make a difference to people, and I think he's taught me that giving has no boundaries. So when you're teaching people, give all that you've got, and then the rest is just the reciprocation of the universe. So Blair is someone that has deeply inspired me. Uh, Another person I draw a lot of inspiration from, may not be directly, but through observation, is the Indian cricket captain Virat Kohli. He's
Yes.
someone that I derive a lot of inspiration from the point of view that um, he's probably one of those few people who has made aggression a positive trait. And
Wow, that's
um,
such a powerful statement.
I think a lot of people look at aggression as a negative trait.
Yes.
And I think aggression, if I have to use another alternate word for it, is intensity. And any achiever on this planet is intense when they are engaging with their craft. And Virat Kohli is a great example of how he is able to carry off an intensity that does not overwhelm his talent. He's able to bring out his talent even in that intensity. For me, that's a very, very inspiring trait to pick.
That's indeed a very beautiful way of putting it up. Aggression and positivity. That goes,
Yeah.
I mean, that's really unheard of, and that's something new. That's very
Yeah.
inspiring. So, tell me something. What's your best childhood memory, which, and even the worst childhood memory, which you recollect today? Sometimes when you're low, sometimes when you're high, or there's a particular memory that comes to everybody's minds. What is it that comes to your mind?
I actually haven't thought of my childhood too much, but it was a fun childhood. I mean, I remember, I think for me, school was a lot of fun.
Okay.
I was a silently naughty student,
Okay.
which means I was a part of the naughty gang, but I would never get caught. My
What?
friends would get caught. So, yeah, I think school was a pretty special phase in terms of there are a lot of memories of having fun, being that naughty kid that I cherish with my friends. Um, a not so happy childhood memory. I don't think I have had a not so happy childhood. In that way, I was pretty blessed. Uh,
No, not so happy as in the worst child. Say, for example, if a child has been reprimanded for an act, what kind of learning did you get from that kind of a situation?
okay, so for me, I think a not so happy childhood memory was there was a time that my dad was bullied by a local politician, and that kind of till date has left a very, very bad taste in my mouth about people in power and how sometimes they get heartless. uh, they don't have a conscience, they've killed their soul. So for me, that is something that is very real even today. I'm not saying all politicians are bad, but at least most of them are crooks, and that's something that I kind of stay away from. It's it's a group of people that I choose to stay away from.
Right.
And it comes from a childhood memory where um, it was like na khaya na piya. My dad got dragged in and was bullied by a local politician, and he had to just pay money out because that guy had power. So for me, when I interact with people in power, not just politicians, but anybody in a stage of power, I watch out for, is this person humble about their power, or is this one of those people who are on their power trip? And if the person is on a power trip, I keep them as far as I can from myself. I just don't resonate with human beings behaving like God. Uh, I don't resonate with that at all.
Wow. So, if you could be anything
Hmm.
or anyone in the world,
Hmm.
yes, you are Rajiv Talreja. I know you would love to be Rajiv Talreja, but besides if you could be anyone in the world, what would you be?
Um, I haven't thought about these questions. So
Yes, because they speak a lot about the psychology. That's why these questions.
I think I would love to be an artist, a musician, probably somebody
Wow,
who writes.
interesting.
Purely because I think art requires a sense of immersion,
Hmm.
and artists are able to access a sense of immersion within themselves, which is very, very rare. Not a very easy space to go to. Like, um, say, for example, musicians, say, for example, in today's times, another person that inspires me is Ranveer Singh. Purely because if you watch every one of his movies, the depth, how he goes into the character, for me,
Yeah.
how he gets into the skin of another person is very, very fascinating. Okay, watch all his movies, Bajirao Mastani to Padmavat, on how he played Khilji, to
Yeah.
now Gully Boy. I mean, that's a role I would like to experience in my life, to be able to shift roles and go into the depths of being somebody else. I think that's a
Hmm.
pretty interesting experience to go through. One of the things I consciously do is I spend a lot of my time with people who are not from the space that I am, purely because I like to rub off different energies. I love spending time with creative people. I love spending time with spiritual people. I love spending time with millionaires, and I love spending time with young people, uh, because each one has something to offer, and I like to integrate all of that. That's the way I look at it.
Yes, yes. And moreover, being in the same space also leads to a lot of monotony.
Yeah, I think if you're good at what you do, then all you need is to get better. And if you have to get better, you need to integrate different energies in yourself. That's the way I look at it.
So, to integrate different energies or to get better on a daily basis, what is it that you do to contribute to your better Kaizen lifestyle?
Conversations.
With?
My way of learning is conversations with
Yes.
people, with anybody and everybody. Um, just to understand their role, their challenges, their dreams, their aspirations, their lessons of life. I think just these kind of conversations keep me creatively fulfilled.
What is that one thing people should watch out for when, on the graph of increasing in life or progressing in life?
I think the only measure of progress is, are you getting happier by the day? Um I know a lot of people who are uh, growing in their career, growing in their business, but they don't know the art of celebration. They
So, if I
don't
may, if I may ask you, what makes you really happy?
just progress, just expressing gratitude for all the things that are there. Life could have been so much more worse. I think that's a reason to celebrate in itself. And I think it's also come from a see, traveling is another thing that is very, very important for me
Very true.
personally. So I travel quite a bit, and I don't just travel. I travel a lot for work, but I don't just travel for work. I am very conscious about vacationing and exploring cultures and places and people. And one country that had a very deep impact on me was New Zealand. From the point of view of my biggest learning from New Zealand is that uh, the people focus there more on quality of life,
Yes.
which means uh, every person there knows how to switch off from work. And on a weekend when you're driving across New Zealand, you will see every car either having a cycle mounted or a kayak mounted or a boat being towed along, which means every person has a passion on outdoor hobby that they engage with, or tents or a caravan along with them. And that that sense of fulfillment, like somewhere I feel in the Asian culture, no matter how much you grow in your career, no matter how much you grow in your business, no matter how much money you make, there's still a sense of, I'm not yet there.
Yeah.
Okay. And wanting to push. Now, having said that, for me, one thing I'm very clear about is that contentment is comfort zone. So I don't believe in, we've reached this stage, now that's enough. No, if you've reached a certain stage, it only means that you're responsible to go to the next stage, because who else will explore it? But I think this hunger for growth, if it is not balanced with happiness and celebration of the moment on a day-to-day basis, then it becomes very hollow. I see a lot of entrepreneurs that I coach myself. The first stage of our coaching is about their business. How to help them make more money? And when they make more money, what happens is that uh, somewhere they're making more money than they've ever made, but yet not able to find the happiness on the inside. Okay, so that's where the second stage comes. This is where we start showing them that, hey, you know what, you got to celebrate the things that you made happen. And I think happiness is a skill, very few people have it.
Wow, that's such a beautiful statement again. Happiness is a skill. It's an art again. True. So,
Yeah, yeah.
if you have to talk about your work, what is it that you or your business or your profession caters to, and how does it help people?
From a work point of view, we run probably Asia's largest business coaching organization. And what we do as a part of that is we have levels. One is an education level where we educate entrepreneurs on the sciences of business. I always say this, that success in business is a science, because business is a science, and most people attribute success to luck or chance. But everything in business is a science. Creating a profitable and scalable business model is a science. There are tools to be able to do that. Marketing to your target audience and generating leads is a science. Brand building is a science. Building a sales team is a science. Operations, managing process systems and structures and costs and time and quality is a science. Developing a high performance culture at your workplace is science. Developing leaders who can become your second line is a science. So all of this is a science. And unfortunately, as entrepreneurs, we've not learned the sciences. We've done business by default. We've done business based on our own hard work, work ethic, and intelligence, and we've brought it to whatever stage that we brought it to. So I believe when entrepreneurs learn the sciences, then a whole new door of possibilities open up for them. So the first section of my work with entrepreneurs is education of these sciences. The second section of the work that we do as an organization is hand-holding these entrepreneurs, where we coach them on a day-to-day basis at a one-to-one level
Okay.
for a period of anywhere between 15 months to 20 months to help them actually implement what they've learned and scale up their business. So education is one side of it. Hand-holding and empowerment is the other side of the work that we do.
Okay.
And we work with 500 entrepreneurs at any given point of time across 6 countries in Asia on the empowerment piece, which is hand holding. So we are working with 500 businesses at a one-to-one level at any given point of time.
Okay. That's a lot of contribution to the progression of so many entrepreneurs. So
Yeah, it's a very fulfilling experience.
I'm sure it is. So quickly, any three tips that you would love to share with the budding entrepreneurs, with the youth, or with people who would really love to begin a business or who are already into a business and are yet struggling?
3 tips. One, play for scale. If the business that you're doing is not scalable, you're wasting your time. Um, you got to play for scale. Uh, Two is if you have started playing for monthly survival, because a lot of entrepreneurs derive their joy when they're able to make enough money for surviving the month, paying their salaries on time, their rent on time, their EMI on time, then your experiences have hurt you, is all I can say. And you got to unlearn from those experiences, because you didn't start your business with a vision saying, I want to build a business where I pay salaries on time, pay EMIs on time, pay bills on time. You started your business for growth. A lot of people get stuck in the trap of survival, because when they start, reality hits, and reality hits because they are not equipped with the knowledge required to scale a business. So the first point is play for scale. Second point is play for growth. Don't get stuck in survival games. uh, that's the worst thing that can happen to you.
Yes.
The third thing that I would give as a tip to entrepreneurs is be a learner. You got to learn. People who say I don't need to learn probably are the most arrogant breed on this planet. Um,
Yes.
and I just empathize with such people. Everybody who's a somebody has a somebody who's helped them grow, learn,
Yes, of course.
coach, mentor them. So the question to answer is, who are you learning from? And learn from people who have been there and done that.
Lovely.
Because again, there's also this whole marketplace nowadays of everybody's a trainer, everybody's a coach,
Yes, yes,
uh,
yes. There's a lot.
without achieving something significant or building a significant business for themselves. So watch out for who you're learning from as well.
We have last two questions. The second last question is, what, according to you, I mean, of course, there must be many, but major three qualities that a human should possess, according to you, to succeed in life?
Hunger, humility, and happiness.
Triple H.
Yeah, so I would hunger for growth, because I think growth is a responsibility for each one of us. The fact that your heart is beating means the creator is not yet done with you. So you can't say I'm done, I'm happy in life. No, hunger for growth. uh, the other one I said was humility, because no matter who you are, there's a black, white, and gray inside you.
Yes.
None of us have evolved or transcended to a level where we can claim to be saints.
Mm.
uh, Even the saints nowadays have scandals. So
Yes.
stay humble.
Mm.
And humility is reflected in the way you treat people who perceptionally are not at your level. Okay. For me, what I find fascinating is a lot of large companies talk about win-win relationships and things like that, but the way their employees treat external vendors, it just fascinates me. I'm like, that's hypocrisy at its highest level. So humility is another thing. No matter who you are a nobody. One has to stay connected to that. And happiness, you got to love yourself for your imperfections. You are
Wow.
not perfect, you're not meant to be perfect.
Yeah.
And if you're beating yourself up and telling yourself I'm not good enough, that's the highest injustice you're doing to yourself. So three things that I
Brilliant.
would say.
That's brilliant. So the last question, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Also taking into consideration the entrepreneurial sector in India, where do you see even that 5 years from now?
I think it's only going to grow. Both the entrepreneurship space is going to grow. Our work is only going to grow. I see us being present in more countries, empowering more entrepreneurs with more services and support systems. We want to build an ecosystem where anything an entrepreneur requires to scale up, we provide that. So I think I'm still going to be doing what I'm doing, working with entrepreneurs.
That's amazing. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
your
Kashish.
valuable time, and
Thank
may
you.
you inspire many entrepreneurs and you get many more blessings in return.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the work that you're doing. That,
My pleasure.
storytelling is a very, very important uh, way of creating a learning culture on this planet. So by capturing stories of different people, you're also serving the planet. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay, by the way, had you ever
Yeah,
thought that someone would interview you when you were interviewing people?
not really. It, I don't think that much. So probably a lot of these things are not thought through
Okay,
in life.
okay.
But yeah, now it happens, and I'm very grateful for it. I
Yes,
look at
yes,
it as a responsibility.
of course. Anytime, any day. Great. Thank
Yes.
you very much, Rajiv. God
Thank you
bless
so much.
you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.